how to grow strawberries in small areas. Let's be honest. You probably think that fresh, homegrown strawberries are only for people with sprawling backyards. You've walked past those sad, flavorless clamshells at the grocery store, convinced that the explosive taste of a sun-warmed, truly fresh strawberry is a luxury you just don't have the space for. Well, that frustration, that belief you're locked out of one of summer's greatest pleasures because of your square footage? That ends today. It's just not true anymore. This guide is your key to unlocking a world of berry production you never thought possible. I'm going to show you how to turn the smallest balcony, the tiniest patio, or even a forgotten corner of your rental into a berry-producing powerhouse with a few simple secrets. So forget everything you think you know about needing a ton of land. Your journey to a massive harvest in a minimal footprint starts right now. Section 1, The Secret Varieties for Containers, Choosing Your Champion. All right, let's get into the absolute foundation of your small space success. Before you even think about a pot or soil, you need to understand that not all strawberries are created equal, especially for containers. Picking the right type of strawberry is the single most important decision you'll make. It's the difference between a few sad berries and a continuous, season-long harvest that will blow your mind. For 2026, the options have never been better, so let's break down the main categories you need to know. First up, we have the sprinters, June-bearing strawberries. Just like the name says, these plants produce one massive, concentrated crop of berries over a 2 to 3 week period in late spring or early summer. They put all their energy into a single, glorious burst of fruit. If your goal is to make a huge batch of jam, fill your freezer, or host an epic strawberry shortcake party, June bearers are an excellent choice. Varieties like Honey Oi or the classic dessert berry Chandler fall into this category. A new powerhouse on the scene is Castaic, which shows potential for massive yields with large berries. The trade-off for small space gardeners, though, is that once that huge harvest is done, the plant's main show is over for the year. Your container will be occupied by a plant that's just focused on sending out runners and storing energy for next year. For most of us who want a continuous supply for snacking, that short, intense window might not be ideal. Also, know that many June bearers, like AC Wendy, give their best crop in their second year. You have to be patient and pinch off all the flowers in the first year to force the plant to build a strong root system for a truly massive harvest next year. Next, we have the marathon runners, everbearing and day-neutral strawberries. I'm lumping these together because, for a container gardener, their function is very similar. Traditional everbearers, like Ozark Beauty, tend to give you 2 or 3 main crops, one in early summer, maybe a smaller one, and another in the fall. But day-neutral varieties are the real superstars for vertical and container gardening. These are a more modern version, genetically programmed to flower and set fruit throughout the growing season, as long as temperatures are in their sweet spot. This means instead of 1 or 2 big harvests, you get a steady, consistent supply of fresh berries from spring until fall. Imagine stepping out onto your balcony every few days to pick a handful of perfect berries. That's what day neutrals deliver. They are the top choice for snacking and adding a touch of homegrown luxury to your daily life. Leading varieties here include Seascape, which is famously productive, and Albion, known for its super sweet, firm berries. Another fantastic option is Evie 2, which is one of the highest yielding day neutrals. For these types, the pro move is to remove the first flush of flowers for about 4 to 6 weeks after planting. This tells the plant to build a solid root system before it kicks into its season-long production mode. Finally, let's talk about a special category for flavor connoisseurs, alpine strawberries. These produce much smaller berries, maybe the size of your pinky nail, but the flavor is extraordinary. It's an intense, aromatic, almost perfume-like strawberry taste you just can't buy. Many alpine varieties, like Mignonette or Yellow Wonder, are day-neutral and form neat little clumps without aggressive runners, making them perfectly behaved in pots. And for the truly adventurous, 2026 is a great time to check out novelty varieties like Purple Wonder or the fascinating, pineapple-flavored pineberries. Just know that pineberries often need a standard red strawberry nearby for good pollination. So, here's the secret: for steady, season-long snacking, pick a day neutral like Seascape or Albion. If you want one monster crop for preserving, go with a June bearer like Chandler. And for a gourmet flavor bomb, add a pot of alpine strawberries. Section 2, Your Balcony Oasis. Choosing the perfect pot. Now that you've picked your champion, we need to give it a home. This is where the small areas part of our guide gets real. You don't need a field, you just need to think creatively about your space horizontally and, more importantly, vertically. Let's start with the absolute basics. Depth and drainage. Strawberry plants have a relatively shallow root system, but they need room. Your container needs to be at least 8 to 12 inches deep. This is non-negotiable. Anything shallower and your plants will dry out too fast. Just as important, strawberries hate wet feet, meaning waterlogged roots. Whatever you choose, it must have drainage holes. If it doesn't, you have to drill them. With that covered, let's explore your options. First, the classics: planter boxes, troughs, and standard pots. A long window box or a deck rail planter can turn an unused railing into a strawberry patch. Grow bags are another excellent, affordable choice made of breathable fabric that promotes healthy roots. A 3 to 5 gallon grow bag is a great size. For many balconies, hanging baskets are a total game changer. They lift the garden off the floor, and as the berries form, they cascade over the sides, making them super easy to pick and keeping them clean. Now, for the true secret weapon for maximizing yield in a tiny footprint: vertical and stackable systems. This is how you grow dozens of plants in a space that would normally hold only 1 or 2 pots. These systems are designed to go up, turning a 2 by 2 foot patch of your balcony into a literal tower of berries. The most popular style is the stackable tower planter. A typical 5-tier planter can hold 15 to 30 strawberry plants in a tiny footprint. Many have clever internal watering systems where you just water the top, and it drips down to every level. They're one of the most efficient ways to grow a lot of food in a small space. If you're a DIY type, you can make your own vertical systems. You could create a stacked pot tower with pots of decreasing size threaded over a central rod. Or, you could mount sections of rain gutter horizontally on a sunny wall to create a living wall. This works well because strawberries have shallow roots. So here's the strategy: look at your space. Got an empty railing? Use a rail planter. Got strong overhead support? Go for a hanging basket. But if you have a sunny floor corner of just 2 by 2 feet, the best investment for a massive harvest is a quality vertical stacking planter. Section 3, the foundation of flavor, the perfect soil mix. We have our plants and our pots. Now, we have to create the perfect home for them. This might not sound like the most exciting topic, but I promise you, it's the absolute foundation of flavor and health. Here's the most critical rule: never, ever use soil from your garden or generic topsoil in a container. This is the most common mistake beginners make. Garden soil is heavy and compacts into a concrete-like mass in a pot, choking the roots and either getting waterlogged or shrinking away from the sides. It leads to inevitable collapse. Instead, you must use a high-quality, well-draining potting mix. These are specifically engineered for containers, light, fluffy, and holding the perfect balance of moisture and air. You'll see a few key ingredients. The base is often peat moss or coconut coir, which act like a sponge for moisture. Then you have perlite or vermiculite, which look like little white balls and create air pockets to keep the mix from compacting. Finally, you need a source of food, which is usually compost or worm castings. This provides a slow release of nutrients and beneficial microbes. You can buy a pre-made mix designed for containers or vegetables, which is the easiest path for beginners. Or, if you want to mix your own, A classic recipe is 1 part peat moss or coir, 1 part vermiculite, and 1 part compost. Lastly, a quick word on pH. Strawberries love slightly acidic soil, ideally between 5.5 and 6.5. Most peat-based potting mixes naturally fall in this range, which is another reason they work so well. Don't skimp on your soil. It's the difference between building your house on solid rock versus sand. Section 4, Planting for Success. The crown is key. The moment has arrived. It's time to get your plants in their new home. This part is simple, but one tiny detail is so critical it can make or break your entire season. We're talking about the crown. You'll likely start with either nursery starts, small plants already in soil, or bare root plants. Bare root plants can look a little scary, like a bundle of dead-looking roots. Don't panic. They're just dormant and ready to explode with life. Just soak their roots in water for about an hour before planting to wake them up. Now, fill your container with your fluffy potting mix and dig a small hole. Spread the roots out gently so they aren't bent or J-shaped. And here is the single most important secret of planting: the crown must be at the soil surface. The crown is the thick, woody part where the roots meet the stems. If you plant the crown too deep, it will rot, and the plant will die. If you plant it too high, with the roots exposed, the plant will dry out and fail. The mantra is simple: roots buried, crown exposed. Once the depth is perfect, fill in the soil, firm it gently, and give everything a thorough watering. And remember our rule: if you planted ever-bearing or day-neutral types, start pinching off any flowers that appear for the next 4 to 6 weeks. It feels wrong, but you're telling the plant to build a strong root factory first. This little sacrifice will pay you back all season long. I know this is a lot of detail, but getting these first steps right is what really sets you up for success. If you're digging this guide and don't want to miss the next critical steps like feeding, pest control, and harvesting, take a second to hit that subscribe button. It makes sure you'll have the full 2026 guide at your fingertips. Section 5, Watering and Feeding for a Massive Harvest. Okay, your strawberries are planted and happy. Now your job is to be the provider, delivering the 2 things they need to fuel all that fruit production: water and food. Let's talk watering. The old rule of 1 inch of water a week for garden plants? Throw it right out the window for containers. Containers, especially on a sunny, windy balcony, dry out much, much faster. There is no magic schedule. You have to check your soil. The best way is the finger test. Stick your finger 1 inch or 2 into the soil. If it feels dry, it's time to water. If it's moist, check again tomorrow. When you do water, water deeply until you see it run out of the drainage holes. This ensures the entire root zone is wet and flushes out excess salts. And try to water the soil, not the leaves, to prevent fungal diseases. Now, let's talk about feeding. Your potting mix gave your plants a great start, but because you're watering so often, nutrients wash out of the soil. And since we're asking for a ton of fruit, these plants are heavy feeders. When you plant, it's a great idea to mix in a balanced, slow-release granular fertilizer. This provides a baseline of nutrition. Once your day-neutral or ever-bearing strawberries start making fruit, you need to supplement with a dilute liquid fertilizer. Choose one formulated for fruits and flowers, sometimes called a bloom booster. A general rule is to feed them with a half-strength liquid fertilizer every 2 to 4 weeks during the peak season. Consistency is more important than intensity. Section 6, Troubleshooting and Advanced Care. Your plants are growing, and you're starting to see little berries forming. This is the exciting part. But a good gardener is also a good problem solver. Let's cover the 3 most common challenges: runners, pests, and pollination. First, runner management. Your plants will send out long, leafless stems called runners. This is how the plant naturally spreads. But in a container, that runner production takes a huge amount of energy away from making fruit. So, The rule is simple: if you want more berries, snip off the runners. Trace them back to the mother plant and snip them off. Next up, pest and disease control. One of the huge benefits of growing in containers and vertical towers is that you've already eliminated many problems like slugs and soil diseases. That's a massive win. Your most likely issue will be grey mold on the berries. The best defense is good air circulation and watering the soil, not the leaves. If you see pests like aphids, a strong spray of water can knock them off. Finally, pollination. Strawberry flowers can pollinate themselves, but they do much better with help from bees and wind to get big, perfectly shaped berries. On a high-rise balcony, there might not be many bees. So, you can become the bee. This is called hand pollination. Just take a small, soft paintbrush or a cotton swab and gently swirl it inside each open flower, moving from one to the next. Doing this every few days will dramatically improve your harvest. Section 7, the sweet reward, harvesting, and overwintering for year after year success. This is the moment all your work has been leading up to. There is nothing like the taste of a strawberry you grew yourself, still warm from the sun. Harvesting is about more than just picking fruit, it's about telling the plant to make more. Check your plants daily once they start ripening. A perfect berry is fully colored. Don't pull it, instead, pinch or snip the stem about an inch above the berry. For day-neutral types, the more you pick, the more they'll produce. And what about the end of the season? Strawberries are perennials, meaning they can survive the winter and produce again next year. For containers and vertical systems, the easiest method is to move them into a protected, unheated space like a garage or shed after the first hard frost. This keeps them cold enough to stay dormant but protects the roots from freezing solid. You'll only need to water them lightly about once a month to keep the soil from going bone dry. If you have plants in small raised beds, just cover the entire bed with a thick, 3 to 4 inch layer of mulch like straw or shredded leaves after a few hard frosts. This insulates the crowns and roots. In spring, gently rake the mulch away from the crowns, and they'll start growing all over again. You now have the complete 2026 blueprint. You know how to choose the right varieties, build the perfect soil, and master care and harvesting. You are ready to turn that empty balcony corner into a source of pride and deliciousness. But don't stop here. I want to hear from you. What strawberry variety are you most excited to try? What's your biggest challenge? Drop a comment below, and let's build a community of urban strawberry growers. I read every comment I can, and your questions might just inspire the next video. Conclusion: so, let's bring it all home. We've shattered the myth that you need a big yard for fresh strawberries. We've shown that with the right knowledge, choosing day-neutral varieties, using vertical space, creating the perfect soil, and mastering watering, anyone can get a bountiful harvest. These simple secrets are now your tools. Use them to create the strawberry oasis you always thought was out of reach. The satisfaction of picking your own food is an incredible feeling, and you're now fully equipped to experience it. Thank you for joining me. If this guide has inspired you to start your own small space berry patch, the best way to support this channel is to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We have so much more to explore together. Now go out there and get planting. Happy growing!